Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live with our Solar Installer and Consultants webinar. Good morning. We are still having a few people drop into the call at this point in time, so you will hear my voice for the next few minutes, just doing some introductions and giving those last arrivals some time to drop in. My name is Anne, if we have not met before. Hello, I'm a member of the Ergon Energy Network and Energex digital project teams. I am a portfolio change manager. So part of the wonderful sort of experience that I get to enjoy with my role is to meet with people like yourselves and also introduce you to our subject matter experts who are with us today that will be presenting the webinar. With us today, we have Lisa Spaccatori, our Customer Manager for Solar and Renewables. Hello, Lisa. Wonderful.
Hi, Anne. Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Thank you. And we also have with us Adam Bletchley, our Manager of Connection Standards from our Engineering Division. Morning, Adam.
Morning, Anne. Morning, everybody.
Wonderful. So as we go through, just a bit of a heads up, we will be or are recording this session. If you would like to show your face, by all means, but just please bear in mind that we are recording. We do have subject matter experts on the call, as well as, of course, Lisa and Adam. The lovely Jamie is with us as well, and a few others behind the scenes, and we will be referring to them during our Q&A session. Please do go to the toolbar at the top of your screen and you will see a chat icon. Please utilize that chat icon to ask any questions, no matter how crazy they may sound. Please ask them. This is your webinar and your opportunity to engage with us as we go through some of the upcoming changes to our systems and our portals. The agenda for today, fairly stacked, but we do seem to get through it relatively quickly. But we will, as I said, give you plenty of time for Q&A. We are looking at dynamic connections and system enhancements, and we will outline very clearly for you what's new and what is changing in our systems. And these changes are for under 30 kVA. We're going to look at some compliance checks for under 30, changes to over 30, and also the emergency backstop. Then we're going to have a look at the network capacity tools, the registration process and support web pages, as well as some portal resources for our customer self-service portal, because your customers will have a new activity that they will need to engage in with your help. And then we'll have a look at some of the other guides and support resources as we move through to our Q&A. One of the things that you will find as we go through today's session, if you see a link that you are interested in as Lisa runs through today, you will be able to click on that link and have a look at that resource. We will also be sharing all of the presentation materials and a consolidated Q&A document for you at the end of the session as well. So, Lisa, I think I've covered all the housekeeping and the sort of process side of things. So as my voice goes now, I might hand over to you.
Thanks, Anne. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for your time today. We're going to run through a couple of changes that are coming up to our portal this weekend. The first change we're looking at in the under 30 kVA system is we've updated our portals to make the process easier and clearer for you. For over 30 kVA, we've updated the portal to accommodate dynamic inquiries and applications. So that's new in our over 30 space. We are continuing to work with the AER to provide our customers in the future with a basic dynamic MSO. Until that is approved by the AER, dynamic connection applications will continue to be assessed through the existing negotiated assessment pathway. So no change to that just at the minute. So if we have a look what's happening in our portal for under 30 kVA, What you'll see is before you go to submit your application, when you select the statuses, your evaluation and what have you, you'll see an important note that's been updated to include our network capacity map. I really do encourage you all to use that network capacity map, and we'll go through that in a little bit more detail as we go through the presentation today. What we've also done is we've got some new portal alerts and prompts. If you're submitting an application that exceeds the basic thresholds, there's a link to the basic thresholds on our on our portal. That's not new, but what you'll see now is a prompt to say that you've exceeded the basic thresholds, and if you continue without changing them, your application will be classified as negotiated. So that's a great prompt just to remind everybody what the basic thresholds are. Bulk metered site question, most of you will know that you have to fill that out, whether your site is bulk metered, and what I mean by bulk metered is usually embedded networks. So you're looking at retirement villages, some shopping centres and the likes of those types of premises. You don't have to fill that question out anymore. We've got some smarts in our system that will go back and look at our market systems and will pre-populate that for you. We've got a new general question: is an EV charger installed on site? Now that question is really for us as an internal business to understand what's happening out in the industry. And so we can report on EV chargers installed on site. If you do have one and it's a bi-directional inverter, you need to ensure that you are applying for that as equipment in your embedded generation application. Some new dynamic questions. If existing equipment is on site, the portal will ask you to nominate how that equipment will be configured to support a dynamic connection. So there are 3 options in a drop-down. You need to select which one is for your site. Another question is, do you wish to provide SEP2 details? And also SEP2 client provider will provide you with a drop-down selection. So there are a couple of the questions and a couple of changes in the under 30 space. Just so you know, we do have videos available. We will be giving these out within the pack. So I do encourage you all to watch those just to have a look at the changes that we've made and go from there. Some of the compliance checks that we've put into our portal for under 30 kVA, the biggest one being around phase balance requirements for multi-phase connections. Where you pop in inverters that don't comply with our standards and don't meet the phase balance requirements for multi-phase, you will be given a validation rule, which says this request does not meet phase balance requirements for multi-phase connections. So you will not be able to submit your application where it doesn't meet phase balance requirements. So right now, our portal allows those to flow through our system, and we manually run a report the day after, and we will cancel those offers and let the ECs know that we've done so because it doesn't comply. So now you won't be allowed to submit them, and you'll need to ensure that your application or your installation does comply with our requirements under the standards. Thanks, Dan. Please let us know if you have any questions, as well as Anne just said, throughout the presentation. My team can interrupt me and we can definitely answer those questions. Just going to go back to, so I'm going to hand over to Adam Bletchley now to just discuss emergency backstop by CSIP Oz for registered dynamic connections. Over to you, Adam.
Thank you, Lisa. Hopefully everyone's aware that online that since about for a number of years, we've had an emergency backstop requirement on generation, and that was delivered by a generation signalling device, or the GSD. Now, as part of the portal upgrade and as part of improving our offering under dynamic connections for customers, we are now going to be starting to offer the backstop, the emergency backstop over the dynamic connection, using the protocol that provides the operating envelope for your dynamic connection. That simplifies your installation for your customer and reduces the need to have the separate signalling device, the GSD. It is important, though, to deliver this feature, the dynamic connection does need to be registered. So we'll go through it a bit later on, but it is important that once that dynamic connection is set up and as part of that commissioning of it, that you check that the customer or yourselves register that with our system so that we can provide both the operating envelopes, which gives your customers access to the higher export limits, and as well as provide that emergency backstop. And I've just seen a question in the chat. Yes, any dynamic connected LV installation, so be it below 30 or above 30, we are able to provide the emergency backstop over the dynamic protocol. It is, as I said, a good offering for your customers. It does help. Obviously, they get the benefits of the dynamic plus the reduction of needing to have that GSD installed. As part of that change, we've updated the acknowledgement to reflect that the emergency backstop is not just delivered via the GSD, that it is now there are alternate options, as well as broaden the confirmation to obviously include that you may have also met an exclusion criteria. Obviously, if you've been to the website for the emergency backstop, there are criteria where you don't need to install the GSD. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Adam. I noticed there's a couple of questions in the chat line. We might just address those before we just jump back into the changes in the over 30 space, if that's okay. So, yep. And sorry, were you going to ask the questions or would you like me to address them?
Go for it, Lisa. You're on a roll.
Okay. So Lionel, thanks for your question. Yes, that does apply for over 30. Alex, hi, welcome to the webinar. How does this apply for embedded networks? So I'm going to hand over to Adam for that, for emergency backstop via CSIP Oz on embedded networks.
Yes, Alex. So from an embedded network, from our perspective, has a single connection point, and the dynamic connection works at that connection point level. So for your embedded network, we would be providing the operating envelope to that connection point, and same with the emergency backstop. It is the responsibility of the DER client or the site coordinator from a CSIP Oz perspective to then communicate all those requirements out to the individual inverters and things like that. So CSIP Oz is made up of your communication client that talks with our utility server and then the actual resources behind that client. So from our perspective, we provide the limits to the connection point, and then it's the responsibility beyond that. The DER client coordinates everything beyond that connection point. I hope that made sense.
Thank you, Adam. Great. I'm just going to jump back to changes to the over 30 space. So some of the changes in the over 30 space are similar to under 30 in being the bulk meter site question, the EV charging question, a new question for dynamic inquiry form in over 30 is, will existing generation equipment be removed or replaced as part of this request? So there will be a drop-down menu that you can select from to choose what applies to your installation. Everything else is the same as the under 30 space, except, the proposed export limitation is also, for Dynamics, is available in the inquiry and application form. So some great changes in the over 30 space for Dynamics. Just going to jump on to network capacity tools. Adam, did you want to talk to this or would you like me to?
Yeah, no, I can talk to this one.
Lovely,
Lisa.
thank you.
So some of the feedback we've received is installers and that not knowing what hosting capacity is available on our network for CER or inverters and that sort of thing. And we have to have it available for a while, the network capacity, maps, both an Ergon and an Energex one. These are now linked in the portal. So when you go in to do your application for embedded generation or even load, there is a little information box up the top with a link to these capacity maps. And if you are watching this presentation on your computer, you can click on those links within this presentation and it'll take you straight to those maps and you can bookmark them for future reference. But these provide installers information, so you can search by address on what capacity we have in the network to host consumer energy resources. That's your PV, your batteries, those sort of things, as well as some information around the load availability as well, capacity to host load. We don't have time this morning to go through the full user guide. There is a lot of information in there, but on this thing, you can see in there, there's a little strip on the right-hand side of your screen. There's a little eye. If you click on that, there's a link to the user guide, as well as a screen full of information that helps you understand what the different symbols mean and all the different colors, as well as layers and that you can turn on and off in that. So I do recommend using these when you're discussing with customers. You don't have to do an application through the portal. They are a live website, so like I suggested, do bookmark these. They'll give you a lot of information to help when you're having discussions with your customers.
Thanks, Adam. We do have one question from Lionel. Would it be possible to search by transformer number as well?
Yes, I do believe you can search via transformer number.
Great, thanks, Adam. Okay, some changes to our customer self-service portal. That's always a mouthful, that's for sure. So what we've done is we've made it simpler for your customers to register for dynamic operation. We've got a fantastic video that explains the registration process. They'll be able to see the connection status in their portal, what their approved export limits are, and the last communicated date once registration is complete. So just a couple of notes down the bottom to let your customers know if they are taking up the dynamic connection. After solar installations, they will receive an email to add their set to details in the self-service portal. Customers can opt into dynamic connection alerts, which will let them know if initial system communication is delayed or later drops out. When we come to move-in churn scenarios, if the site was an existing dynamic connection, however, the people have moved out and new people are coming in, an email is automatically sent to the incoming customer to give them instructions on how they can also apply to be a dynamic connection. So we've got some great alerts and some great customer comms going out, which is automated, which is fantastic. We've got some great resources. I do encourage you all to go and have a look at these. Dynamics Connections web pages, all the information you need about dynamic connections, customer self-service portal resources for your customers, and you can pop in and have a look at those videos as well. Installer guides, this is for you lovely people on the line. Electrical work requests, application guides, and all that sort of thing. So we've got a ton of resources available at your fingertips. I do encourage you, as I said, to go and have a look at them. If you've got any questions about them, you can reach us at ergongeneration@energyq.com.au or energexgeneration@energyq.com.au. That brings us to the end of our presentation. Does anybody have any questions around the phase balance requirements or dynamic or anything like that? Thank you, Lewis. I can see a question. Okay, so Lewis's question is, what is the process of commissioning a dynamic over 30 kVA connection and confirming the operation of export limit before submitting a compliance report? And how do we test the emergency backstop function on commissioning if it is over the CSIP dynamic connection? I can see Adam's unmuted, so we'll go.
Thanks, Lisa. I'll start with the second question first and we'll work backwards. Yes, we haven't set up a commissioning process for the moment for the emergency backstop, but if you are communicating and registered, so if that is showing up that it's communicating with our servers, then that feature is enabled. It's a built-in feature of the dynamic protocol, so we don't need to test it specifically separate. On the first one, there is still a fair bit of work to do on setting up commissioning tools and those sort of things, and it is a acknowledged weakness at the moment. The visibility for installers to confirm things are working before they leave site, both on the over 30 and under 30, is a bit of a manual process at the moment. I do believe that the current process is they reach out to the leases team, and then they put them in touch with the team that runs the utility server on our side to confirm that comms and everything is working. Like I said, it is acknowledged weakness, but we've got to make small steps, and improving the portal part's the first part of that.
Thanks, Adam. And I just will add to that, Lewis, you'll need to be registered and connected to our dynamic server, especially in the over 30 space if you're doing compliance reporting, especially for power quality. So what you'll need to do after the 23rd of May is provide those SEP2 details in your application. And then that will be triggered to our dynamic team, who will then be able to set you up, and you'll start receiving DOEs, or dynamic operating envelopes, to enable your compliance testing. Thank you. Another question from Shane. Do you know what providers are available that comply with CSIP Oz for emergency backstop?
So any of the providers who are listed as an approved provider for the dynamic connections will comply with it for emergency backstop. At the moment, that is a list maintained by us, but we are in the process of transitioning to the national arrangements. For those that are not aware, that there has been an update to the CSIP Oz, and that there is now national testing, and that's the DER clients are starting to be, and the inverters are starting to be listed as part of the CEC inverter list. And that will, as part of the improvements, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you'll be able to actually select your SEP2 provider as part of your dynamic connection provider as part of your application. So we'll have the approved ones listed in the portal for you to select from. And that list is being constantly updated, and there may be a lag between someone being approved and it appearing in the system. But you can see, if you go to the CEC's website, you can see all the inverters that have been tested and their clients that have been attested for compliance to the CSIP Oz requirements. They're tested for the whole protocol, so that includes your emergency backstop and all your dynamic envelopes.
Thanks, Adam. That's correct. Celeste, you had a question. So to clarify, dynamic connections no longer need a separate GSD, and the emergency backstop will then happen through the SEP2 device. So that is correct, Celeste, as long as you are registered. And we have ongoing compliance and audit checks, which my team do on a monthly basis. So we'll be checking those to ensure that if you are managing your emergency backstop via dynamic, that you are registered. Thank you. Lewis, so dynamic registration prior to submitting the DCR application. Nope, dynamic registration prior to submitting a compliance report. Just another question from Lauren. On applications for under 30 kVA, will the drop-down SEP2 list include option for unsure for providers who are not yet listed, such as Anchor? I don't believe they will be, Lauren, no. So only approved SEP2 providers will be on that list. And I think we update, Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but that list is updated, I would say, weekly.
Yeah, I can't remember how frequently we're pulling the data from the CEC and that. So yeah, we'll take that one on notice, and we can provide that in the FAQ that comes out of these webinars.
Most
Wonderful.
definitely. We'll make a note of that one. Yep.
Adam, just another question from Alex. coming from a perspective of a technology provider, who can I talk to at EQ to further understand technical requirements to achieve CSIP Oz listed approval? Specifically, this query is relevant to embedded networks.
Okay, Alex, I recommend you reach out to techinquiries@energex.com.au or techinquiries@ergon.com.au, and then that'll put you in touch with my team, and we'll get back to you on those. That's the fastest way through to have a technical chat.
Fabulous. Thanks, Adam. That's all the questions we have. So I'm going to hand it over to Anne to see if she would like to continue on.
Sorry, Lisa. I just noticed we may not have answered Shane's question about any currently approved devices, no backend updates. CSIP Oz at this stage is designed to be backwards compatible. But with the new version of the standard, all DER or CSIP Oz providers have had to go back through recertification to comply to the new technical specification for that. But currently in-service devices will continue to operate, and that they will and be able to handle emergency backstop in that. Whether or not providers choose to do firmware updates and the like, is obviously beyond our control, but they're obviously it is software, so that the providers may be doing updates in the background all the time.
Yeah. Wonderful, thank you, Adam. And Lisa, I see you've read that question about viewing potentially one of our videos in this session, given we have some time.
I have.
So Arena, thank you for your question. For those of you that are interested in watching one of the videos that we have made available of the new application process, I have a sneaking suspicion Lisa's about to hit the link in this presentation. Now, one of the things to be aware of is we will be sharing all of these presentation materials and all of these videos with you after the session. You will also have a recording of the session, as well as a frequently asked questions document outlining all of the answers to the questions and anything that we've carried over, like the one that Adam has mentioned. And you will also receive links as well to all of the supporting materials. So we're doing as much as we can to ensure you have all this information at your fingertips. But as Lisa plays this video for you, please do continue to ask questions in the chat, and we will continue to monitor that for you and get back to you after the video has played.
Great, so, thanks, Sam. Just note this video doesn't have any talking, so I might just give you a little guide as we go through. Just let me know if you can bear with me. Okay, Anne, can you let me know if we can see this?
We've got it.
Fabulous. Okay, this is an under 30 kVA application.
Yep. You might just be able to maximize your screen there, Liz, on the video section.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect.
So this just goes through what you need to do to ensure that your application is compliant. So just as normal, pop your NIMI in and click search, or pop the address in if you have the address. Just ensure that you're selecting the correct site. These details are really important to progress your application quickly. Where you don't fill out the correct information, we do unlock it and ask you to ensure that it is. So if it's a business, we require ABN number or ACN number, because this is configured to ABNs. For an ACN, you need to pop 2 zeros in prior to the ACN number. So we do require the business name, the first name and last name of the contact at your business, and then also the mobile number and the email address. So this is all relatively simple for you guys. This is what you do every day. But it's just really important that you make sure that this information is correct. So in the retail customer, I'm just gonna go. You need to ensure that this information is as per the customer's retail account. So ensure that if it's in two names, you pop that in. The names must match the retail account that the customer has. Really important that the correct mobile number and email address is submitted. And the reason for the email address is notifications will be sent to the customer. And we just want to ensure that they are receiving them if they need to, but most of them are informational only. This also goes into the customer contract, and as it's a legal document, the information needs to be correct. So right now we're still manually entering the information because we understand that the SAA is now the accreditation provider. When we have our new release of our new portals, within the next year or two, we will ensure that that's updated. So you can see that the warnings that you're going to receive, that's just some prompt text for your inverters. Some more notes here about BESS and the network capacity map and basic thresholds. These guides are really great too for those installers that have your office team submit applications on your behalf. It's great to have these on hand so they can run through them as they do it, just to ensure that everything's correct. The same look and feel as the current portal, so no great changes there. You will see that here this is grayed out, so no longer available for you to choose. The EV question is here. Still require our GSD question to be answered. So here's your SEP2 details, and you can see that the selected, the drop-down box will capture all of the approved ones. So this is the acknowledgement that Adam was talking about for dynamic emergency backstop. So that's pretty much the portal changes. Oh, bear with me. Did anybody want to? I'm just going to have a look. We've got some more questions. So Anne, Anne, can I hand over to you for those questions if you don't mind? Thank you.
Of course, happy to. So Celeste has added a question in here. One, when is all this coming into effect? And two, if we provide SEP2 on application, do we still need to do the dynamic registration form after? So Lisa, this all comes into effect
23rd of May.
23rd of May. This
Look
weekend.
out.
That's it. And the second part of that question, do we still need to do the dynamic registration form after?
No, you do not. So the registration will be automated from the 23rd of May. The form, I believe, will no longer be required because we are accessing that information directly from your application.
So can I just jump in there, Anne, as well?
You definitely can, Jamie.
Go for it, Jamie.
So yes, providing the SEP2 details in your initial application is optional, but obviously there are benefits to do that, because if you know them up front, then by the time the application is completed and you're on the site installing the system, the dynamic operating envelopes might be ready there for you when you're commissioning the system. But if you don't provide them during application, you can update them later, similar to the update serial number functionality in the portal. There'll be just a new little option you'll notice there saying update SEP2 details. And also following this, there's also an opportunity via the customer portal, if they register for it, that they can also update SEP2 details as well. So there's multiple opportunities to do it. So if you do get it wrong or details change, you can always go and update them later on.
Thanks, Jamie. And I think we do have some time. I can see there's a couple of other questions, but I think what we'll do is just quickly show everybody online what the add or update SEP2 details look like for your customers, just to make sure that you've got those. Oh, no, don't have those available. So I'm lying. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Hang on a second. Oh, I'm not good with technology, as you can probably see.
That's all right. While you're doing that, Lisa, I may ask Jamie to ask a couple of answer a couple of additional questions. So, Jamie, if it is dynamic, will that GSD question be asked?
Yes. So the question is still presented, but it's in the declaration information. You would be probably familiar with in the declaration section, there is a question there around the emergency backstop compliance. That declaration's been updated to reflect one of the earlier slides. So it mentions if it's dynamic, you can install a GSD, or you can use the SEP2 protocol for this function. Yep.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jamie. And the final one before I know Lisa can hit play there. What does this mean for our dynamic applications that have already been submitted and will still need the DER form as they have been submitted prior to May 23? Is there going to be an expiry date on those?
No, there's not. So anything submitted prior to the 23rd of May, the current registration process will still continue for those. Obviously, anything after the 23rd of May, it'll be automated through our systems.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. So
looks like you're ready to go.
I am. So for everybody online, this is how your customers can add or update their SEP2 details. And I really do encourage you all to talk to your customers about these resources that we have on our web pages. So they're more in control of their dynamic connections. So I'm just going to press play and everybody can have a look at how we've updated this. Thank you. So once again, it doesn't have any audio. It's quite self-explanatory. And we've made obviously some instructional notes here for you all, for your customers. Very simple, all there right in your face. Fantastic. It also tells your customers where to find their LFDI and where to pop it and to submit the update. And some obviously pop-up notes around what communications and what it looks like.
And I do believe as well, Lisa, there is another video in the mix that we have published for those customers that maybe have not registered for our customer self-service portal in the past. It will actually take you through what that process looks like, and you can share that with your customers as well to help support them so that they understand how to get through to do the registration of those SEP2 details.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anne.
I think we'll get another question there from Arena. Lisa, if a customer wishes to apply for full export, but it's not approved, I presume it will generally fall into a negotiated dynamic connection?
Thanks, Arena. So look, we do provide our customers with the options. If you do request full export and we cannot allow that to be connected to our network, we'll give you the option to go either dynamic, or we will also give you an option for a fixed export value of 1.5. So it's really entirely up to the customer what they wish to proceed with, but we do give you the option for sure.
And this is another question from Celeste. Wait times, what are we currently running at, Lisa, for dynamic connections?
Yeah, so look, we are experience really great, big workflows at the moment. We are trying to get our offers out well under the 65 business days, but just so you ensure that your customers' expectations are met, I would definitely be telling them up to 65 business days wait times for negotiated dynamic at this point in time.
Great, thanks, Lisa. And from Nods, on business applications, it seems the CDNs are poorly updated from the retailer's side, which of course causes delays. Can the applicant simply provide an LOA to clarify this?
Thank you, Nods. Unfortunately, we can't take an LOA to clarify this. So the National Electricity rules state that we must contract with the retail account holder. So our systems need to be updated to reflect the correct details. I do understand where you're coming from with the CDNs. Yes, retailers can be a little slow, but we do our utmost best to check those regularly to make sure that we're on top of those applications where we're waiting for CDNs.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Ladies and gents, any other questions or queries? Now is your time. Please do not hesitate to drop them into the chat. You have a wealth of experience on the line at the moment between our SMEs, and we are here to support you and make sure we get these questions answered. So Nods is just clarifying, does the dynamic connection require a CSIP Oz version 1.2 tested CSIP? And on the capability test, can we opt to test the system for generation limit instead of export limit? Adam, I think I'm going to handball this one to you, my friend.
At this stage, we are accepting both the existing CSIP Oz testing, but from, I think it's middle of July towards the end of July, yes, all CSIP Oz connections will have to have the CSIP Oz 1.2, the ANU tested, requirements met. No, you can't use a generation limit. We don't use that for our dynamic connections on the main network. So we don't use the generation limit option under CSIP Oz at this stage on the main network. So unfortunately, you still have to do the export limit testing.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Nods, hopefully that answers that question for you. Ladies and gents, are there any other questions or queries from your customers' perspectives that we can clarify for you, especially with the introduction of that new process to register their SEP2 details after the connection has been established? I'm not seeing any movement in the chat, so I'm going to err on the side of caution with one final call out. Any administrators, any sort of support personnel on the line, please do not hesitate to utilise all of our resources. We do have quite a lot there that we have developed to ensure that they can seamlessly integrate with your onboarding or training activities, depending on who is completing the processing for you. And there is also a wealth of information, as Lisa and Adam have shared, in the online user guides as well. Another question here from Nods. If the export is very unlikely due to high loads, how do we pass the export limit test? Adam?
I'm assuming, Nods, you're looking at embedded networks there, not a single customer arrangement. I'll have to take that on notice and have a think about how that test is structured. The tests were structured around a single customer. You could remove the loads.
Okay. Wonderful. So we will take that one offline and have an answer for that one in the FAQs. And Lionel's asked, Adam, we have that often with single customers as well. So we will make,
yeah, we'll think, and I'll talk with our compliance team and we'll think of some ways we can test the export limits with load present.
Yep, wonderful. So Shane's asked the question, public-facing resources, what plans does Energex have to communicate this widely to homeowners? It all seems simple for us, but this is all going to be quite complicated and over the heads of most homeowners. Solar is not a simple discussion these days. Lisa, I might hand that one to you initially to answer, and I can support you where I can.
No worries. Thanks, Shane. Listen, we did go to our customer council with these changes a few months back, and that's made up of a number of customers. It is difficult, I do acknowledge, for us to reach the end user, so your customers, and we do rely heavily on your support to provide this information to the customers. Look, we do have a lot of detailed information on our web pages, and those will be given to you in this pack. We also do have our contact centre that can assist. We have my team that can assist as well. So if you do find that you are getting questions from your customers that you are unable to answer, please do reach out to us and we can assist you in any way that we can.
Yep. And in addition to that as well, to support our customers, we have ensured that the email that is automatically produced, that is sent to your customers to register their SEP2 details if that is required, that also includes links to support materials and is all in plain English. We have kept it as clear and concise as possible, but also bearing in mind all those resources, as Lisa said, will be available in our online support services. But if there are any ideas on how to make it even more effective, please do not hesitate to let us know. We'd rather know than not, to ensure that as we continue to refine our systems and move towards our future state solution, that it is as seamless and as easy as possible for everybody to use and work through. Great. Final call for questions, ladies and gents. We're almost at the 10 minutes to go mark. So we really, really appreciate your engagement and support as we've gone through today's webinar. As mentioned, you have a series of wonderfully experienced SMEs on the call. So please do not hesitate to reach out via the chat. This chat will continue throughout the rest of the next, I guess, 10 minutes or so. And we'll continue to ensure that those questions and queries are picked up in the materials that we send to you after this webinar. Lisa, another question from Lionel. For the churn, are the fees the same as a new application, or is it a limited new contract fee?
Thanks, Lionel. So you're aware that we have a fee for dynamic applications negotiated that is currently set at $120. That will apply to churn. For customers, they must submit a new application, or their installer must submit a new application, and we must provide a new contract. So that fee will remain the same as $120. However, come the 1st of July 2026, our fees will be updated, and ensure that you are registered for the industry alert, because we pop those into that every financial year, just so you can manage that with your customer base as well.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Anne.
Lisa. Thank you. Well, ladies and gents, I think we have come to the end of our webinar. If that is the last of our questions coming through, thank you again for your attendance and your engagement. It's wonderful. Sean, thank you for putting those links into the chat so that our attendees, if they are not already, can sign up to our electrical partners alerts. greatly appreciated. There is one coming out on Monday based on all the content that I've seen floating. So please sign up for those alerts, because that is your latest breaking news on anything that's coming through from us out to you in the industry. But I really appreciate your time, your engagement. Thank you to Lisa and Adam, our presenters. Thank you to Jamie, our subject matter expert extraordinaire, greatly appreciated. And also thank you to all of our other support personnel that have made today's session possible. We will close the session shortly. Vernon, thank you so much, greatly appreciated. We've loved chatting to you, really enjoyed the engagement, and we will continue to have these types of sessions as we progress over the coming years. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody.